Hi, last week with our poem exercise, or in our poem exercise, we had trouble pronouncing these two words, adopted and abandoned. How do you pronounce adopted and abandoned? Well, adopted and abandoned are the past forms of the verb adopt and abandon. Let's see how the base forms sound. Abandon has 3 syllables. Abandon, abandon. Here are the 3 syllables. And notice the stress is on the second syllable. Abandon. Adopt, adopt. Adopt has 2 syllables. Adopt. Notice the stress is on the second syllable. Adopt. Okay, we can see that they are regular verbs because the past of adopt is adopted, ed. The past of abandon is abandoned, ed. Okay, so how can I know how to pronounce the past? Abandoned, abandoned, abandoned. Notice that the past of abandon is abandoned. 3 syllables and with a little sound at the end. Abandoned, abandoned. And what about this word? This word is adopted, adopted. How many syllables was that? Adopted. That was 3 syllables. Adopted, with the stress in the middle syllable. Why did abandon not change and adopt, adopted, change the number of syllables? Well, there is a rule, and the rule is that regular verbs ending in T or D add a syllable. Regular verbs, yes, these are regular verbs, ending in T or D. This one ends in T. Here's the T. But this one ends in N. This one does not end in T or D. So here I do not add a syllable. Here I add a syllable because the verb ends in T. Okay? So let's see a few examples. We have examples of verbs ending in D and examples of verbs ending in T. Our first verb is succeed, succeed, succeed. We have a verb, it is regular, it ends in D, and it has 2 syllables. Succeed. What is the past? Succeeded, succeeded. 3 syllables. Why did I add a syllable? Because it is a regular verb. It is a regular verb ending in D. So I add a syllable. Now let's see one with T. Combat, combat, combat. 2 syllables. Combat. We have a regular verb ending in T. What is the past? Combated, combated. Here we have an example of verb ending in T, and here we have a verb ending in D. Let's see another example. This is the verb conclude, conclude, conclude. 2 syllables. It doesn't end in T or D. This is not a T or a D. But if you close your eyes and you say conclude, conclude, the final sound is a D, because in the rule you are missing something. Regular verbs ending in the sound T or D. It is the sound, not the letter. If it is the letter, of course that will be the sound. But sometimes the letter is not a T or D, but the sound is a T or D. In the case of conclude, the sound is D. So we have a regular verb. We have a regular verb ending in the sound D. We add a syllable. What is the past of conclude? Concluded, 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 concluded. 3 syllables. And now let's see if the same thing happens with T. This verb is regular and it ends with an E, so no, it doesn't physically end with a T or D. But if you close your eyes and you say it, taste, taste. The last sound is T. So taste, 1 syllable, taste. But the past is tasted, tasted. So our rule applies to regular verbs that end in the sound T or D. Sometimes the sound T or D is the letter D or T, but sometimes it is only the sound, because the last letter is an E that we do not pronounce.